So he even confides stuff with me that he doesn't even tell his own wife. He calls me up in the middle of the night and he's like, dude, I don't know who else to go for this. You're all I've got. You're the only one I can tell all the sensitive, dark information, dude. I went to my wife. I went to Angelina. She denies me. She says, grow up. Stop acting like a child. You're the only one I can go to. You will be my brother. The one I talk to every night. You're the one I talk to. You're the one I confide information in. You're my closest one.
I didn't know he was part Asian. That's awesome.
It was a figurative way.
Speaking of which, speaking of, him confiding things in you, I heard one of his films kind of got bad reviews, He maybe sort of took it hard. What was up with that? Did he talk to you about that?
It was like his downfall. It was like the fall of Pitt. I say it was like Brad Pitt falling into the pit, and it was very.
Awesome. That's not.
I wouldn't laugh at that actually because it's a very sensitive part of his life, and he actually did go through depression.
Give it due reverence, yeah.
He did go through the depression, and he's saying, hey, all these reviews of the movie, people are giving him horrible reviews. He's so used to having all these rave reviews, he does like 12 Monkeys, rave reviews, 7 rave reviews, Meet Joe Black, and finally it just gets to the point where like at this point people are just like, you know what, is he just going to be another piece of eye candy? And people saying his lack of acting talent, and then when he shows up, he's sort of just playing the same characters, and then he needs props to sort of to facilitate him with his acting. But it's just like people are just saying all this nasty,
no faith
mean
in
shit, and
that's
it's like
a shame.
It's like they need to have faith in him. And I remember he's on the balcony of his 5-story mansion. He was just like down and out. He was gloomy. He was like he had that look in his eyes, and I told him something wasn't right. And I was just like,
alone
dude,
with him on the 5th floor of his mansion balcony.
Right, watching the sunset together.
That's totally normal.
And he looks at me and he says, dude, I don't know if I can take this much longer, dude. It's been tough on me, dude, reading these reviews and saying all these negative, harsh, critical things about me. And I say, listen, Brad. I take him right then and there, and I'm saying right to his face, I'm like, listen, Brad, all right? You can do this. You can break through. You can fight. You can rise above all the media frenzy bullshit that they're throwing at you. You can rise above that and become the Brad that we all know. You can do it. You can do it, man. I believe in you. And I gave him 7 wet kisses on the forehead, Mimo, and I told him, Brad, you are the one. You are the one I have faith in, Brad. You can do it.
7 wet kisses on the forehead. Wow, that just shows the depth of your totally platonic friendship with him. So, not to change the subject rapidly, but I heard from the grapevine, this wasn't in the news, wasn't public, but got some sources of mine, and they told me that Brad actually lost one of his adopted sons. He died. What's up with that?
I mean, it was hectic, man. I didn't expect it. But, just one day, we were I was with them. I was very close, at this point especially close, to Brad and Angelina in such dire times. And when they lost that kid, it was like we're sort of expecting it because he certainly wasn't going to recover at any point in time. So, he was just, it was destined. And he went peacefully. He wasn't in any pain.
That's good.
In the night, and it's that the funeral, a few days later for this poor little boy, and Brad is, everybody's there. He tries to keep it modest and humble, but he has Brad's such a good guy. He's such a sweetheart. He brought all his close friends and his childhood friends, and I was there,
including you, of course.
I gave a eulogy, and and Brad.
You gave Brad Pitt's dead adopted son's eulogy. Yeah, that's awesome.
I insisted not to. I said, Brad, listen, I just want to leave you and your family be. And he was like, no, I insist. You must come. You must come. You're a friend of mine.
You had to
You're
do
close.
it. You had to do it. You had to.
I showed up and I did it. And the funeral's over. And Brad is, he's got a tear in his eye and he's been crying all night. But now he's, he's not doing good. But he looks steadfast at this point. And he takes me outside and out on the vanilla sky painted against the the horizon. We both look out there, and he's saying, listen, Gary, I brought you here because I care about you. I want to tell you my deepest, darkest secrets, and I just want to tell you straight up, to be totally honest.
What did he say?
Brad, what's on your mind, dude? Come on, you can tell me. You can trust me. I'm your friend. And, Brad takes me by the arm and he looks me straight in the eye and says, listen, Gary, I don't give a shit about my dead son. You are more of a son to me than that little shit ever was. Okay? I can have 1,000 more of those things anytime I want.
What?
You're the one. You're like my flesh and blood, though you are not. You are a brother. You
Brad
are not
Pitt
just
said that?
You are a son to me. You are
So you're more important
my
to
likeness.
Brad Pitt than his son and his daughter
tantamount
and his
to
wife
all his
and all of
family.
his
And
family.
yeah, pretty
Wow.
much. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Insane. And I was like, Brad, are you sure you want to say that? I mean, Angelina might be around the corner. She might not get the right. She won't take that very well. And he was like, I give a shit.
Confiding in
I want her to hear this. And Brad was just, at this point, he was just pouring out all his emotions, and he was just all over the place, and he was just confessing it all. No stone left unturned. And he was just like, Gary, listen to me. All that time I spent, training and getting films and landing gigs and acting jobs and the talent and the training and the hard work it took, none of it was ever me. It was you. And he starts pouring out, just gushing, and we hug and we embrace. And
He basically just said you're responsible for all his life success.
It's a hard thing to take responsibility for. And I'm like, am
But
I
it's
Brad
true.
Pitt's?
It's Brad Pitt's
am I
telling
his-
you, bro. You gotta believe him. It's
am
Brad
I-
Pitt.
Am I the one that's responsible for all this awesomeness?
Apparently, yes, according
And,
to Mr. Pitt himself.
And and I took looking back, and I'm saying, listen,
To
Brad,
Bradley Le Pitt.
Brad, like all that too, but in the midst of a sea of broken loneliness, you found me.
Wow, dude, if you keep this going, I'm gonna have to cry. So he was confiding in you about all this stuff. Wow.
Yeah, and he said, I just need some time, and I was like, that's understandable. I give him a pat on the back, a little kiss on the nose, and then, we part ways, and I'm like, Brad, if you need anything, your son is here. And I drive off.
Wow.
And Brad just like gives me a wink.
Solitary tear in his eye.
Walks into the pale moonlight,
Jeez.
And that was that. I just needed some time to assess my own things. I was just like having the onus of being Brad Pitt's son under me, in addition to all these other
a lot
things.
of pressure.
Under the addition of being counselor and trainer, getting him ripped, supporting him, being his rock in ways. And it's hard. It's tough on him. I know it's tough for him because of all those losses. But he was.
There's a lot of priorities, things on your plate. But being Brad Pitt's son, wow, that really tops the list.
I mean, here's the simple truth. I want to protect Brad. I want to keep him safe and lock him up and let him be mine forever. Just have him perfect and charismatic and handsome and just the same little Peter Pan boy in my box forever. I'm just kidding. It was a joke. I'm just kidding. I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I was getting a little bit concerned there. Glad you said you're just kidding, though. That's hilarious. What's up?
It's always good to joke, and
You're always such a jokester on the show. It's hilarious.
yeah, it's good. It's my job. It's in the job description.
Well, you know what? Thanks for coming on the show today.
man.
It was awesome. Let me just wrap this up somehow. Find a way to wrap this up somehow.
Don't forget to watch Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, bro.
Brad Pitt.
Top of my list. Top of my effing list. What's up?
Yep.
But hey, thanks for coming on the show again.
man.
Love the Relevant. Loved Leo. Love what you did with Leo. Love what you did with that. Very real. Confirmed. Real.
Yeah, these
bear.
are all real. You can find journalists. Journalists will try to spin stories against me and say, hey, this is just some guy trying to feed off of Brad Pitt's fame and leech off of his enmity. And I'm just saying,
You hang out with Leo, now you're hanging out with Brad Pitt. You're just
Yeah.
going through the roster of all the greatest stars. I love it.
Yeah, it's so life affirming, and it's so otherworldly working with these these gods, if I should be as bold as to say.
What?
Uh,
That's awesome.